Once you find yourself in a comfortable position, take a few cleansing breaths. Think about this time as a time to quiet the mind, or as we move our bodies and we kind of think about ourselves as detoxifying. If this was an opportunity to direct the mind and detoxify the mind a little bit. So you can soften your gaze, you can close your eyes, you can set your gaze on something. Maybe you have a burning candle in the space and you want to direct your attention to the flicker of the candle. But just take a few cleansing breaths, letting yourself know, I'm here now, I am. And maybe the inhalation is a let or a letting, and the exhalation is a go or a going. Let go. So there's this still space inside of us, and I've heard it referred to as Vishranti. That's kind of like the cave of the heart, and it is always within us, and it is always this still place, and we can always go there. So this access point, no matter how we're feeling in our minds, no matter what emotions are flying around, that stillness exists within us, and it is just a matter of coming to the seat and whatever that seat looks like and stilling. So perhaps even adding a count to the breath. And we've done this in my classes before, where it's a 4-count inhale, and then we pause at the top and count to 7, and then exhale for 8. So switch those numbers up if it feels wild, if it feels like too much, but just a shorter inhalation, a longer pause, and then an even longer exhale. And maybe there's just 4 or 5 of those breath cycles. So even if that was the extent of the taming for you in any given day, like just noticing the power of that pause and that stillness for a moment, and the regulating of the breath, going into the deeper parts of yourself. And whenever you feel ready, you can start to come off onto your hands and your knees. And we'll just do a tiny bit of wrist stretching. So you can do this at the same time or one hand at a time, turning the fingertips to face you. So you've got the heel of the palm away from you and the fingertips facing. Again, it could be one hand at a time, or you could do both hands. And if it feels all right to do both hands at the same time, maybe just moving through cat-cow while you have your fingertips facing your knees. If you're doing it one at a time, you can do the same thing, cat-cow. Do it a couple times and then just switch which fingers are forward and which fingers are back. And so again, just regulating the breath, noticing it as you move your body. Inhaling might be the dropping of the belly, the lifting of the tail and chin. The exhaling might be curling the other way in cat pose, or some variation of that, but where you are bringing some awareness into the movement of the body and the movement of the breath. And then eventually you can come back to stillness. If you do that a bunch of times, eventually you can come back to stillness and start to flip one palm up. So you turn fingers towards you, palms turned up towards the sky, so the back of the hand is on the mat. fanning the fingers wide, and just a little bit of pressure down into the hand that you're doing that with. So the palm is turned up, the back of the hand is on the earth, fingers can fan wide. You can put a little pressure into that hand that's turned up, and then even fist it and open it. So you open and close the hand a few times while the back of the hand is pushing into the mat, just gently. So you're just finding a little bit of a stretch into the wrist and forearm that way. And the hands as you open and close, and then you can do the other side. Okay, so just kind of noticing the difference between the two sides so that the pressure is what's adequate for you, just enough, right? So it doesn't have to be extreme, it can be just that place of being enough. And then back to just a tabletop with the hands as you would normally place them, tabletop. We're going to inhale to drop the belly, lift the tail, lift the chin. And as you exhale and start moving to cat pose, tent your hands so you rise up onto the finger pads. Curl into cat pose, but then start to marry a cat pose on the finger pads with a child's pose where you drop back, hips towards heels, keep the fingertips really grounded, curl the chin in towards the chest, and then come back up for cow. So root the palms, drop the belly, lift the tail, lift the chin. As you exhale towards cat pose, come up onto the finger pads, curl in, and then start to move your hips towards your heels, chin in towards the chest. Okay, that's your flow for a little bit. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat, which is kind of married with child's pose, and really stretching the sheath of the back body, curling the chin towards the chest. And you just keep flowing with that a little bit. Okay, so there is a little repetition, right? There it is. Eventually meeting in Vajrasana when that feels complete, so you're just seated on the shin bones and the hands in the lap. So we're gonna do a little bit of movement here. When you come up, I want you to stand up on your shin bones, take the arms over the head, and at the same time, step your right foot forward so you're in a lunge. Okay, so you gotta coordinate a lot, finding the balance, finding the stability, let the wobbles happen. You get a big breath in here, and as you exhale, drop more deeply into the right knee bend. Keep the upper sternum lifted and fly the arms behind you. And then take the arms over the head, step back so the knees are side by side. You're standing on the shin bones. And then back to Vajrasana. And then you go to the other side. So when you're ready, you'll come up, find your stability, arms over the head. You can step the left foot forward. The exhale is to drop a little bit more deeply in. So establish yourself, start to draw the arms back, lift the upper sternum, lift the upper palate. When you're ready, you can take the arms up, inhaling, and as you exhale, knee comes back and you settle back into Vajrasana. And then just a few more times like that, going right and left. So inhale, step the right foot forward, arms over the head. And as you exhale, drop more deeply in and string the arms behind you. And then come back, standing on the shin bones, both arms up. Vajrasana, settle back. And you go to the other side. So the pacing is your breath and your stability. And when you find that sense of center, and just find the rhythm of your breath. Or maybe there's one more each side. And there's nothing that can be wrong with this unless it's hurting you, it feels painful to the body, then adjust so that you find a movement with the breath that suits your body today. And that might be cat-cow, it might be something completely different. Eventually we're meeting back in Vajrasana, seated on the shin bones. And then we're gonna rise up to standing on the shin bones one more time. So you can come up, take an inhale, rise the arms up. The options are gonna be to bring the arms down to shoulder height, or you might eagle your arms with the left arm on bottom starting, and we'll do the right next time. Move the base of your tail towards the backs of your knees. So that's a little bit of a tuck of the tailbone. If it makes more sense to you, move the hip points towards the low ribs. And then push off through the feet. I want you to just lean back with a nice flat back. So you have your quadriceps in a stretched position, but they're also contracted. Okay, this can be arms straight out in front of you or eagle arms with the left arm on bottom. Okay, base of tail towards the backs of the knees. Again, shorten the space between your hip points and your low ribs. When you're ready, inhale, unwind the arms if you have them wound up. Take them straight up and come back up. So now you're just stacked over your knees. And then settle back into Vajrasana. Take a moment just to be back there. And let the quads just be in a lengthened position, but not with any work having to happen. No resistance. And then we'll rise up again, pushing off, taking the arms over the head. If you want eagle arms, right arm on bottom, or the arms out in front of you, just resting right out in front of the shoulders, and then lean back. Move the base of the tail towards the backs of the knees. Lift the upper sternum. Breathe. Allow the sensation to happen at the quadriceps. And then we can unwind the arms, take the arms over the head. And exhale and sit back. Breathe here. And now crawl forward into a tabletop position. And just start to circle your right knee around in the air. So with a bent right knee, you can take it out to the side, thinking like a fire hydrant, make big old circles. Okay, so however you can get that hip joint to move, you're kind of exploring, or the head of the femur in the hip joint, kind of exploring how you can make that happen. And eventually we'll end with the right knee at hip height. The right knee is still bent. It's almost like you're making a footprint on the ceiling up above you and your hands are on the ground. And then really root down through your right hand, reach your left hand around, see if you can meet the foot behind you, left hand to right foot. And if you can get that, kick the foot into the hand, lift the upper sternum, get a little bit of pulling of the belly back, and lift the chin. Keep breathing. Take an inhalation, and as you exhale, you can release the hand from the foot and bring the left hand down. Now curl your right knee into your nose. And then you can release the right knee down next to the left. And we'll start to spin the left knee around in circles. So it can just go out to the side like a fire hydrant. Any which way it will move. Yeah. Find some fluidity at the ball and socket joint of the hip, if you can. And then eventually the knee is just behind the hip, at hip height, knee is bent. And your opposite hand, opposite foot. So your just left foot is standing on the ceiling. Pull the belly in, take your right hand around to the left foot. Kick the foot into the hand. So this idea like chapasana, this bound shape. Really opening and lifting the heart, looking up perhaps, finding the stability, knitting it all in. One more big inhale. When you exhale, release the right hand down to the earth and curl the left knee into the nose. And then release the left knee down and tuck the toes under and move into downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Little turn of the head side to side. And feel the side necks release a little bit. Good. Breathing. Can you guys can all hear me okay? Someone maybe not hearing me so well. Julie, you're not hearing me so well. And now just as you inhale, take your right leg up and back and right away open it up to a scorpion down dog. So the whole inhale gets you to the right knee is bent, the right heel is falling towards the left sitting bone, getting all this space. Take a big breath in. And as you breathe out, bring your right knee over to your left tricep. So you're gonna bring it back in, curl and cross under the body and tap the left elbow or tricep. And then do that a few times. Open up, scorpion, wide open, feeling maybe even looking beyond your right armpit. And then as you exhale, you'll come all the way through, bringing the knee to the left tricep or elbow. You can flow with that a little bit. Just think of it as opening and closing. Just a slow, easeful opening and closing. The next time that your right leg opens out into scorpion, it's a big breath in. Use the breath out just to step the right foot forward in between the hands. And then think like warrior one, but we'll do a warrior dog where you put the two together, warrior stance and downward dog. So spin the back heel down and flat, but keep the orientation of your hips more forward. Walk the hands inside the right foot and then long off to the left. So they're gonna come kind of up towards the front left corner of your mat. And you can even tent your fingertips. Now get a sense of hugging your right hip back again towards the left heel. And your arms are really long. They're hands about shoulders width apart. You're on the finger pads and you can hang your head in between the upper arm bones. Keep hugging your right hip back and in. Keep your right fingertips just as they are. Think thread the needle. Your left arm is going to come behind your right heel bone. So you're just going to reach it off to the right. Let the hand be facing up. Just reach up and kind of look up and beyond your right armpit. Okay, so kind of twisting the upper body. It's weird. It's just finding a little sense of thread the needle within this. Left arm's reaching behind the right heel bone, all the way over to the right. Look up and beyond your right armpit. Take an inhale, wide-legged fold to the left as you exhale. So just turn your toes to the left and find a wide fold. Hang your head. Directing the mind to focus on the body, directing the mind to focus on the breath. There's nowhere else that the mind can be, just focusing on what's right here. And then rooting through the feet, bring your hands onto your hips. Both hands hold the hips, and with a nice flat back, start to rise all the way up to standing. Take a big inhale as you come up. And as you exhale to the back of your mat, warrior two. So turn your left toes to the back of the mat. Right toes are turned in a little bit. Let the arms float up. Okay, so warrior two at the back of your mat. And just feel it out, right? And reaching through the fingertips, but also there's a wholeness through the sensation of just gently drawing the shoulder blades towards each other. So you get the opposition, a feeling of kind of, again, knitting it in. When you're ready for an inhale, we'll take goddess pose with the arms kind of cactused. So toes turn out, heels turn in, perhaps a little shorter stance, bend the knees. Sit low and bring your arms up. Full inhale breath as you exhale, left arm on bottom, eagle the arms. Left arm on bottom, eagle arms. So a little breath into the back of the heart, that cave of the heart. Take a nice big breath in as you breathe out, warrior two now to the top of your mat. So right toes forward, left toes turn in a little bit. Drop in, if you need a little more space between your feet, just inch them apart a little bit, float the arms up. When you're ready for an inhale, we'll reverse the warrior. So left hand can just trickle down the back leg, reach right arm up and back, and keep drawing forward with the right knee. You get all this space in the right hip and the right side body. Take a full inhale as you exhale, hands come to the mat. We're gonna step to table pose. So bring the right knee down, bring the left knee down. Take the left arm to the sky and thread the needle, but we're gonna kind of fake it out a few times. So left arm reaches underneath you, almost like you're gonna bring the ear, the head, the left shoulder down, but don't touch down. Just reach as far as you can over.
And then inhale, come back out. And then exhale and thread it back through. Keep going like that, just doing little thread the needle fake outs. So you feel the rotation almost like this spiraling or telescoping of your ribs. Eventually you can come into thread the needle, bringing the left arm down. Maybe the right arm comes around the small of the back. Beautiful, you guys. If the right arm is around the small of the back, bring it back to the earth. Free your left arm, push off, inhale. And as you exhale, 2 hands down and downward facing dog. So you can tuck the toes under, send the hips up and back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then left leg is scorpion down dog. So use an inhale, take the leg up and open, full inhale breath. And you can just pause there for an exhale to give yourself that first sensation of it. When you feel ready for the exhale, you can bring the left knee over to the right elbow or tricep. And then open out again. And remember, we're just flowing with this a little bit. Just a little. And eventually that last inhale will be leg up and open, and then stepping it through where we build the warrior dog. So back heel down and flat, hips are oriented towards the top of the mat. You walk your hands off to the right, pop up onto the finger pads, hug the left hip back and in. Hang your head in between the upper arm bones, shake it out, find that sensation. So my left hand is on the fingertips, and it's right at the top, almost like at the right top corner of my mat. So it's not way off to the side. That way I can get a little bit more of the thread the needle sensation. So work yourself into how it's best for you. I'm going to thread my right arm off to the left behind my left heel, letting the back of the hand just rest on the mat or the floor. Left hip's pulling back. I'm going to look beyond my left armpit. Left hip's pulling back, right leg is strong. Find the rotation in your spine, the ribs. Big breath in. And then wide-legged fold, turn to your right. All 10 toes face the edge of the mat. Hang your head. And even a little wiggling side to side to kind of find the inner thighs. You can feel the hip bones moving and then the socket of the joint. Or the heads of the femurs. And then bring your hands onto your hips. Engage through your belly. You're going to ground through the feet, lengthen through the spine, come all the way up. Big breath in. And then warrior 2 to the back of your mat. Just letting the arms kind of fall onto that, almost like there's a surface at shoulder height that they're just resting gently on. And then inhaling to goddess pose, the elbows will bend. As you exhale, right arm is on bottom, eagle the arms, and sit low. Feeling into the back of the heart space, into the back of the neck, maybe even letting the chin fall towards the chest. I'm just noticing how I'm gripping with my toes. See what's gripping for you. Is it necessary? Maybe it is. Take a big breath in. The exhales to warrior 2 up at the top. So left toes forward, fold the right toes in a little bit, lengthen the stance if you need to. Set the gaze on the fingertips or beyond, just easy. And then reverse warrior, peel back. Big breath in, feel the pull away from the left knee. As you exhale, we'll come down table pose. That right arm's gonna go to the sky, so you're on your hands and knees, right arm goes up. And then fake it out a few times and thread the needle. So reaching through, inhaling to open, exhaling to close. The body's working together as a unit, just finding its way through the sense of center, through the core. Rallying around that with the spine, the ribs. Eventually threading the needle, right arm can come down, right shoulder, right ear, left arm maybe threads around. And the breath, just breathing. Good. Eventually starting to unwind. Taking the right arm all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands down and downward facing dog. Good. And then pull forward to plank pose from downward dog. And you can lower all the way till your belly down. All the way until your belly down. When you arrive at belly down, you have a choice to take salabha, which is flying the arms back, lifting the chest, lifting the legs, or if you want dhanurasana and it feels accessible to you at this point, you can bend the knees, capture the tops of the feet, kick the feet into the hands. So soaring with long legs behind you, or using the legs to get a little bit more leverage into the backward bend. Okay, it's up to you. Give yourself another really big breath in. Gentle release down. You have a choice here. You can push to plank with the knees down or the knees up. So when you're ready, give yourself a nice little push up. Either the knees are down or you tuck the toes under and lift those knees up. And downward dog. Find the breath. Big breath in. Big breath out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Now breathe in, bend your knees and look forward. Breathe out, either walk or hop up to the top of the mat. Create a little halfway lift, lengthen out. And fold forward, and then sit back into Utkatasana. So your knees will bend, maybe you're still touching the floor as you find the knee bend. And then pulling the belly back, take the arms up. Just find the natural curves of your spine, what feels nice and easeful, not overly sticking the bum out, not tucking it under, just natural. Natural as you can kind of attune to. A really big breath in as you breathe out, hands to the heart and straighten the legs, Samastitihi. Now we're going to take a standing knee raise. So the right leg is your base, arms up, left knee forward. So arms up, left knee forward, and find the stability through the center line. So finding a sense of the inner right leg from the ankle to the pubic bone and then the belly zippering up. Take a full inhalation. Flying lunge, step your left foot back, okay, ground the ball mound, and string the arms back. And once you find your stability here, we'll go to Anjane Asana. So bring the back knee down, and rise the arms up. A full inhalation, and then to a half split. So you can touch down. Maybe the blocks pull in if that feels useful. Straighten your forward leg. And then reach the upper sternum towards the top of the right foot as the right hip crease kind of pulls back a little bit. Maybe there's a sense of lifting your sitting bones up so you can intensify and even get, so it's intensifying into the right hamstrings for me, but also I'm continuing to lengthen my spine and decompress through the spine. And then rebend the right knee. Tuck the back toes under and pick up the back knee. We'll take a nice big breath in and then simple twist, left hand down and right hand high. Now turning it into horizon lunge, we're gonna do some funky stuff here. So turn all 10 toes towards the right edge of your mat. And now I'm gonna tiptoe. For me, my goal is to bring my left hip down to the mat. So for me, having the right foot so far towards the top edge is too much. So I'm gonna tiptoe the right foot towards the back edge of the mat, so kind of keeping it in the same position it's in, then bring my left hip down all the way. Use your right hand if you need it to kind of find that. And then, you know, position so that this left hand, left arm is comfortable. For me, that meant moving it forward like an inch. So it's not directly stacked. And then my right hand, I'm not mirroring you, I'm opposite you. So my right hand is now gonna bring it just onto my left ribs and let it get heavy into my hand. So you're working with gravity, your ribs are dropping and your shoulders might even shrug up. And then whatever feels good with that right arm, just kind of bring it onto the knee or just chilling. But you're letting this open up along the left side body. And maybe there's some awareness brought back into your left leg. I just noticed mine was just super chilling out. Let your left side ribs get really heavy towards the earth, and even drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. And then we're gonna take a seated twist. So as you come up, bring your left heel, right? You have to stay and pay attention, right? Bring your left heel towards your left sitting bone. And then just come up so both of your sitting bones are now on the ground. Both arms can go up. And then twist to your right. So either hugging the right knee or hooking. You know this pose, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Rotating. And there's an energy, like really feeling gravity and even letting yourself get heavier into the earth, but lift away from the weight that is down. So the sits bones, maybe. And then everything's gonna stay the same, but I just want you to take your gaze towards your right foot, which means you gotta look to the left a little bit. Your left hand, which is the one that is kind of maybe hugging the right knee, is gonna hold on to the knife edge of your right foot. So I'm reaching right around, and I'm gonna extend that leg out, and I'm bringing it in line with my hip. Okay, so it's crossed over when it's in the twisted position. It's crossed over the pubic bone or the midline. And I'm gonna open it, so it's in line with my right hip, and then the right arm can go behind you. Lift the upper sternum, lift the upper palate, either floating the right arm or it can stay on the ground. Take a big breath in. Gonna return right to our seated twist. So rebend the right knee, set it down. Start to return to the way you came in. Left hand comes under the left shoulder. We're not going out though, I want you to stay with me, okay? So the left hand is under the left shoulder. Straighten your left leg long towards the back edge of the mat. Stack the right leg on top of that. And then set your left forearm down, parallel to the top of the mat. Are we good? All right, so I've got my shoulder right over my elbow. I'm gonna keep my right hands on the earth, my right hand, there's only one of them, on the earth, to give myself some leverage so I can pick up my hips. And then maybe the right hand comes to the right hip, and you lift and lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, set it down. Now bend both knees. So your heels come to your sits bones and you come up, and we'll stretch the left side. Right hand to right ankle. Left arm up and over. And just notice where your mind is going, right? So bring it back. If it's like calling out all the conditioning and patterning, just come back. What if I was just checking it out? What if I was just exploring this breath, this shape, this place? Next, we're gonna come to forearm plank at the top of the mat. So you can just come onto hands and knees. I'm binding my fingers, all 10 fingers interlace, then stepping the feet back. I'm gonna hold this for a while. So I'm on the balls of my feet, Elbows under shoulders, bound hands, heart reaching forward, heel bones and inner ankles back. Stay and breathe for 5. Dolphin poses next. 4. Broaden the collarbones. 3. 2, it's just down dog on the forearms. And 1, so tiptoe the feet in a bit. Keep the hips and thigh bones moving up and back. Breathe into dolphin. Push down through the elbows. Broaden the collarbones. And then child's pose. So you can release the knees down and rest for a second. Good. And then downward facing dog. And then down dog, breathe in, bend your knees, look forward. Breathe out, walk or hop up to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, lengthen out. Fold forward, exhale. Sit into Utkatasana, so maybe you're touching the ground. Bend your knees a lot. Take your arms up. Sit back and down, soften where you can soften. So like the jaw, the edges of your eyes, where are you holding? Nice big inhale as you exhale, Samastiti, so 2 straight legs, hands to the heart. And then we're going into right knee forward and arms over the head. So find your left foot, take the right knee forward, arms up. Hold for a moment, just find that sense of zippering it up. Big breath in, flying lunge. We're gonna step back, so you almost pass through an airplane pose. And set the ball mount down deep to the back of the mat and stream the arms back. When you find that stability, bring the back knee down, inhale the arms up. And then we move into a half split. So you can touch down, pull the blocks in if you'd like, straighten the forward leg. So you feel that experience of the hamstrings. And then we return to a lunge, picking up the back knee. It's a big inhale, simple twist, so your right hand down and your left hand high. Left hip is pulling back, and then we're gonna turn all 10 toes to the left. So knife edges of the feet. And if you want to, if you needed to on the other side, you might need it here, tiptoe your left foot back, because know that that right hip is coming all the way down. We're preparing for side stretching, for some twisting, and then we work into the core a little bit. So as you come down, can you let the rib cage surrender heavy? And maybe it helps to bring the left hand to the right side ribs. And the right ear can fall to the right shoulder. You can explore what feels good here. This side's tighter for me, just noticing. Make sure your breath is here. And then as you come up, you can start to bend the right knee, bringing the right heel bone towards your left sitting bone, and prepare for a seated twist. Okay, so both sits bones might ground or close to grounding. Take both arms over the head, fill up, and then twist to your left. So your way, right? You can lever hug. See what feels right. Awesome. Make sure there's breath really connected to what's here. So maybe each inhale is creating some space or lift, and each exhale can find a little deeper twist. But pretty much everything's gonna stay the same as the gaze just goes towards over the right shoulder, but it's looking at your left foot. Then the right hand, so it's opposite hand, opposite foot. Right hand's gonna capture the knife edge, pinky toe side, and free the leg out in line with the hip. Okay, so I'm taking it from crossing the midline to in line with the hip joint. And then your left arm can come back or lift. Oof. See what feels right? Yeah. When you come back, you're gonna pass back through your seated twist.
Bring the right hand back onto the mat. Straighten your bottom leg, your right leg, so that it's long, lengthwise on the mat, and then stack your left leg on top of the right one. Now come onto the forearm, parallel to the top edge of the mat. Just same thing we did on the other side. Right? Scoot, make sure you feel you're in the right spot. I've got my left fingers in front of me, so it's giving me some stability to pick up my hips, and then the left hand on the left hip, I'm gonna lift and lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now the hip comes down, knees bend, heel bones towards sits bones. Come up and stretch out the right side waistline. Left hand, left ankle, right arm up and over. And for your neck, notice where you're holding a lot of tension. Where does it creep in? Forearm plank is next. You can set yourself up from table, binding the hands. And then step the feet back. So you're here again. How much space can you create? Both front bodies. So front body is going to try to collapse a little bit. Front body and back body. Pull yourself gently like a rubber band in opposite directions. Notice the body, notice the senses, notice how they start flooding into the mind. Dolphin pose can come next. So when you're ready, walk the feet in. If you would like to lift one leg at a time, it's shorten the stance a little bit. It means bringing the feet a little closer to the elbows. I'm going to look forward, and perhaps the right leg goes up. Could even play a little bit with hopping. Pinch your asana if you want to. Just gently, it doesn't have to be a full variation. Just kind of playing with one leg up, and then child's pose. One leg up at a time. Yeah. Beautiful. Yes, you guys. Good, good, good. Awesome. And then downward facing dog. When you're ready, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So from downward dog, make your feet look like they're little duck feet. And so for me, my feet are usually about hips width apart in down dog. I spin the heels in, the toes out, and they sort of touch at that point. So the toes are out, the heels are in. You're gonna take your right leg all the way up and back, and then bend that knee and fold open. So like you've done before. You've been here before, right? And then really ground through your right hand. Can you come up onto the finger pads of the left hand? Or even reach around and capture hand to foot behind you. If you can get hand to foot, be really mindful. Set your gaze and get some kick of foot into hand. So you're really opening through the groin and the top of the right thigh. When you're ready for the release, the left hand comes back down, the right leg into the air, and then step the right foot forward. Okay, now once you're here, launch your left leg into the air. So you gotta stay with me, right? Stay with me. Left leg into the air. And then bend the left knee, and now you've got scorpion here. Okay, so your left heel bone is falling towards your right sitting bone. Can you capture with the right hand now? Right hand to left foot. First, bring the heel bone, even if you've already kicked the foot into the hand, come back to bringing the heel bone towards the tailbone and lift your left knee a little bit. So you're really gonna find the quad. Then you might find a little more backward bend. So kicking the foot into the hand, even looking forward. If you want to come up to a revolved dancer, hold hand to foot, look forward, push off, and rise up, kicking the foot into the hand. Come out the way you came in if you did that. So a little softness in the knee, start to come back down, touch down. Release hand from foot, take the left leg into the air, and then feet together in forward fold. Now rise all the way to standing. Take a full inhale, and just meet your hands in front of your heart. Take a moment just to be here, feeling your body, feeling your feet. Then inhale the arms up. And as you exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, lengthen out, and step back for plank pose. And it's maybe the first chaturanga if you want to do a full chaturanga. And we'll do up dog or cobra, and then down dog. And then create those duck feet again. Duck feet. Toes out, heels in. Take your left leg into the air, and then bend the knee and fold open. So that turned out foot might give you a better base. Even stepping your left hand back a tiny bit might do that. And then on the finger pads of your right hand, or reach back and see if you can capture. Be really mindful of what's happening. Kicking the foot into the hand, so really direct your mind. Tame the mind. Kicking the foot into the hand if you have the bind. Eventually releasing right hand down, left foot steps forward. Then the right leg is gonna launch into the air. And you'll scorpion that leg. So bend the knee and fold open. You can keep your right hand down, perhaps left hand comes around to capture opposite hand, opposite foot. Heel bone to tailbone, and lifting the right knee is gonna really accentuate that. So you can check in, and then find a back bend by kicking the foot into the hand and pulling the heart forward away from the pubic bone. You can create more of a bow shape with your spine. If you want to come up, shift the gaze forward, play with the balance, come all the way up. Notice where you are. So if the wobbles come in, can you center yourself? You drop into that center of stillness. When you come out, you'll come out the way you came in. Hand can come down. Free the leg, take a breath in, and then 2 feet on the ground. Now rise all the way up. And meet the hands in front of the heart, Samastiti. So it's all the practice. Everything that we do, it's all the practice. Inhale your arms over your head. And exhale to fold forward. And create a halfway lift. And plank pose, chaturanga dandasana, whatever makes you feel good here to reset. We're going to eventually meet belly down. So you can meet on your belly. And when you get there, take your arms just forward, okay? So a shape that we just made, we're gonna make again from the belly. So bend your right knee. And just keep your right hand kind of glued to the mat. Reach around with your left hand and capture the right foot somewhere that feels like you can get a good grip. And then start to gently kick the foot into the hand, looking forward, and maybe propping up onto the finger pads of your right hand. Maybe the left leg floats, maybe the arm and the leg float. Getting open up, take a full breath in. And as you breathe out, release it down. Stack your palms, your forearms, and just rest your head down. Rock your hips. Ah. And then arms forward again. And bend your left knee. Just preparing for the other side. Taking the right hand around to capture somewhere on the left foot. You can prop up onto your left finger pads. Start to kick the foot into the hand so it just levels you off a little bit. Okay, reach the heart forward. Maybe the right leg floats, maybe the left leg floats. The full inhale, get a little more lift. Do exhale, gently release, and we'll slowly curl back into a child's pose. So when you're ready, you might come through that cat pose, child's pose variation on the finger pads, and just kind of curl the chin into the chest, and eventually come all the way into child's pose. And take like 3 to 5 really intentional breaths. If you want to bring in a count to the breath, you can bring in some focus in that way. And then push yourself to a seated position where you can swing the legs out from underneath you. And we'll come onto the back body. Come onto the back. Hug the knees into the chest for a moment. And we'll set up for a gentle twist. If something else sounds like really perfect, we did a lot of backward bending, maybe you want a full wheel here. It's up to you. I was going to start to wind us down, but it's completely up to you. The right leg come up and over the left, just crossing the legs and then bump your hips to the right a little bit. So if you're coming with me, just twisted root, knees off to the left. So once they fall, you can open the arms out like a big T. Find your breathing. Allowing ourselves to have something to focus, like dharana. Is the focus, the mind, a holding of the gaze. The stilling. And sometimes that's by just being led into shapes. And come back to center when you're ready. You can then wind the legs. Maybe hug the knees in an uppanasana or even happy baby in the middle. And then you can go on to the other side. And so feet down, cross the left leg up and over, bump your hips to the left, and then you can twist, knees come off to the right side and open the arms out. Full breaths in and full breaths out. Resting in awareness. So as we focus the mind and just still ourselves into our movements, we can rest in our own awareness and our own intention and moving with intention. Finding the body in new places and new shapes and just following that thread. When you feel ready to come back to center, you can come back to center, unwinding the legs. Maybe it's again hugging the knees in or taking that happy baby. And then settle yourself into a final resting posture where you let your legs get long. You turn your palms up and find some space between the arms and the body. Let the head get heavy. Follow the breath in and just let it release out. Easing any restlessness by fluttering in movement if necessary, and then letting everything just be pulled by gravity, be held, if you will, by gravity. Blanketed. Take a nice big breath in. Exhale it away. And start to stir yourself a little bit through the tips of the fingers and the toes. Maybe let the head fall from side to side, just awakening through the neck, feeling the weight of your head. Blinking the eyes a little bit. Stirring yourself to the point that you're ready to come up to a seated position. And roll the shoulders a few times, even roll the head around on the axis and just feeling. Setting the head over the bowl of the hips. So it's just a stacked sensation, meeting the front body with the back body. And then the hands can come into the heart center. Just taking a second to recognize the discipline that it takes to show up and to attend to the mind through the body, through the breath, through the practice, through showing up for yourself. And I'm super excited that you did that. And I vow to you love and light. Namaste.